Manny Diaz, the chair of the Florida Democratic Party, has announced a plan, which he has worked with, by the way, with Democratic candidates all throughout the state, to spend $15 million to, as he puts it, shift Florida blue. Because he says we can't be all gloom and doom. That's actually the phrase he used. Can't be all gloom and doom. Florida's a purple state, by God. And we can make this happen, Manny Diaz says. And so he got all these Democratic candidates to donate some of their money to this statewide effort to go knock on doors, to get people registered to vote, to open up new offices and all that kind of fun stuff so that we can get the word out about Democrats here in the state of Florida. Now, let's be clear. It's a good idea, right? I mean, any effort to get people to register to vote, to drive them out to vote, in the elections, that is always a good thing. And I'm not here to crap on that part of the idea. What I am here to crap on, however, is the thought that Manny Diaz thinks that Florida's a purple state. Let me read this quote. This tells you, all right, two quotes. This is the year we push back. Let's stop being so gloom and doom here. We're not Mississippi. We're not Alabama. We're in Florida. This is still a purple state. We have to get the work done. Manny, I don't know how close you are to the state of Alabama. I can tell you I'm about a stone's throw away from it, though, right now. And did you know that Alabama has actually had a Democrat as their governor more recently than the state of Florida has? So Alabama technically is more likely to vote for a Democrat than the state of Florida, and here you're like, we're not Alabama. No, if we were, Democrats may have a fighting chance, you idiot. That's the problem. You want to look at all these other states and say, we're not like that, without actually knowing how the electoral process in those states has played out for the last 30 years. I'm assuming Manny has been in Florida for at least as long as I have, right? Close to 40 years. I don't even know how old he is, to be honest with you. I don't know where he's located in Florida, but I can tell you that it's not anywhere near a red area of Florida. Florida's gone. Now, I admit in the run-up to the 2020 election, I thought Florida was going blue. 100% thought Florida was going blue. The polls showed Florida going blue, that Biden would win this state. We had just given former felons their right to vote back, and even with Florida Republicans led by Ron DeSantis, enacting their poll tax, saying you can't vote until you pay back all your court fines, I still thought it might be enough to push Democrats over the edge. And of course, again, the polls showed that that was going to happen. Well, the polls were wrong. I was wrong. Pundits were wrong. Everybody was wrong. Donald Trump won this state by a bigger margin than we have seen in over 20 years in the state of Florida. On top of that, to counter Mr. Diaz's claim that this is in fact a purple state, Republicans, for the first time ever, hold an edge in number of registered voters, an edge, by the way, that is 110,000 people. Not to mention, new reports also came out this week showing that we have had an influx of people moving down here to the state of Florida, and guess what? Most of them are registered Republicans. Florida is gone. And I'm sorry, Mr. Diaz, if I'm being a little too gloom and doom for you, but I also live in reality, and I'm not going to sit here and lie to people and say that, oh no, we sure can do this, it just takes a little elbow grease. The elbow grease, the behind the scenes work, dude, that $15 million, that should have been spent 20 years ago. It's too late. You waited too long, and I know you weren't in charge of the Florida Democratic Party back then, but the Democrats waited too long. Y'all screwed this up. Y'all allowed this to happen because you didn't take action when you first saw the inkling that Republicans were doing all this weird crap down here in Florida to gerrymander, to suppress the vote, to keep Democrats out of power. Our long-standing Democratic Senator Bill Nelson was unseated in the last Senate election by Rick Scott. Nelson had been serving for years and years and years here in the state of Florida. It's over, guys. You lost because you waited. And $15 million isn't going to do a dang thing to turn Florida from a red state to a purple state, which honestly is the best you could hope for. And I've even said, by the way, that we know Florida's had, I think, 80,000 COVID deaths. We know that COVID is killing more Republicans than Democrats. That's just a fact, folks. But even with all those COVID deaths, even if you were to assume that every single one of those COVID deaths, all 80,000 were registered Republicans, they still have 110,000 voter edge heading into the midterms right now. So those COVID deaths probably aren't going to factor into Florida races at all. It's over. Go spend that $15 million where you can make a difference, because I promise you, it's not going to happen in Florida.
This is Hattie. Hattie wants to know why you have not subscribed to our channel. You obviously like our videos, so do us a favor and subscribe.